What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to MANIACITV, man. Today, we got how FBG Duck was betrayed by his own gang. From the Trend Plug YouTube channel, man. First off, rest up, Big Clout. Now, it's a lot of details coming out about this case involving FBG Duck and the murder of Duck almost 2 years ago, man. It's crazy. This August to be 2 years, man. But we ain't doing no more talking. We ain't wasting no more time, and let's see what this all about.
The murder of FBG Duck back in August 2020 came as a big shock to the rap community. Still, some felt he had it coming due to the growing tension between him and his ops. This tension was between him and members of the Black Disciples, which was one of the major rivals of the Gangsta Disciples, a gang to which FBG Duck belonged. Like every human being, his death was inevitable, but no one knew it would happen so soon and in such a violent manner.
I ain't gonna lie, I'll say this every time. I thought Duck was untouchable. Like, Duck been around for so long, had so many ops, so much beef in the city. I felt like this nigga was untouchable.
Human being, his death was inevitable, but no one knew it would happen so soon and in such a violent manner. Following his death, authorities swung into action and 5 individuals who were linked to the killing were arrested. It's been more than a year since FBG Duck was brutally murdered, and recently an FBI affidavit on his murder case has surfaced. The affidavit gives a clear picture of the investigation leading to the arrest of FBG Duck's killers. Also, some parts of the affidavit reveals that FBG Duck might have been betrayed. So what exactly was in the affidavit that makes it seem that FBG Duck was betrayed? This and many more is what I'll be talking about in this video. Before we start the video, make sure to leave a like, and if you would like to join this month's giveaway of one of these items on the screen, then all you have to do is subscribe to the channel and watch this video to the end to comment the hidden keyword. Good luck! FBG Duck was a force to reckon with on the Chicago drill rap scene, but like a lot of rappers who combine gang banging with their musical career, it didn't end well for him. On August 4, 2020, his life was unexpectedly cut short. The men arrested in connection to his death were Charles Liggins, aka C Murder, Kenneth Robinson, aka Kenny, and Kenny Mack to Carlos Offord, aka Los, Christopher Thomas, aka C-Thing, and Marcus Smart, aka Muwab.
Wow.
All men were from the O Block and were charged with murder in aid of racketeering and federal firearm violations and assaults in aid of racketeering. Let's take a look back at what happened on the day of FBG Duck's murder and some of the events that happened after. According to the affidavit released by the FBI, FBG Duck had arrived at a clothing store on Oak Street on the day of his death to pick up a present for his son. His son's birthday was only a few days from that time, so I have cause to believe whatever present FBG Duck had gone to pick up was for his son's birthday. FBG Duck didn't go shopping alone. He had been in the company of his girlfriend, and both of them had arrived on Oak Street in a vehicle, which was driven by her. The time was around 4:10 p.m. There had been a queue at the clothing store, and like a responsible young adult who didn't let his celebrity status interfere with his common sense, FBG Duck had joined the queue and patiently waited his turn. He had no idea that he would not live to see the next day. At around that same time, some activities was going on somewhere else. On Parkway Gardens at 63rd and Martin Luther King Drive, C Murder, Muwap, and a couple of other gang members were seen running hurriedly down a stairwell. Unknown to them, all their activity was being caught on a surveillance camera. Their enemy was within their grasp, and they were not ready to waste a moment. It didn't matter if it was still daylight, they were going to risk taking them out.
And that's how personal the beef was. It was not only was it broad daylight, but they went, I'm not too familiar with the streets of Chicago, man, but to go to the Gold Coast, and from what I'm told, that's a tourist area, my guy. I heard they don't even let niggas over there sometimes unless you got money to go out to that part of the city in broad daylight with assault rifles. Nigga, that's how personal this shit was. And people think that it's just music. No, it's not music, man. This shit has been going on for a minute. Yeah, music heavily influenced it, but man, that shit deep.
But he was being caught on a surveillance camera. Their enemy was within their grasp, and they were not ready to waste a moment. It didn't matter if it was still daylight, they were going to risk taking him out. At that point, it was obvious that someone who had seen FBG Duck on Oak Street had given them the information that FBG Duck was close by, and it was the perfect opportunity to get him. Judging by how fast they got to know about the presence of FBG Duck in the area, I believe this informant had probably called or sent a text to one of the gang members. The question now is that who was this informant? To be honest, it could have been anyone who had a score to settle with him.
Anybody.
On the other hand, jealousy can't be ruled out in these kinds of situations, since it's one of the driving force for many crimes that occur. What I'm trying to say is that the informant could have been someone who was jealous of FBG Duck's success and decided to put an end to him.
But then again, that whoever that person was had some kind of tie or connection to O Block. You know, with everything that's been coming out, man, it ain't gonna be just no random person from Chicago like, oh, there, that's FBG Duck. You know, like a fan that try to insert themselves in beef. No, this person had phone numbers. They had something that tied them to O Block in some way to let off the drop like that.
Many crimes that occur. What I'm trying to say is that the informant could have been someone who was jealous of FBG Duck's success and decided to put an end to him. So, was this person a part of FBG Duck's crew? Someone he considered a friend and confided in? Or was this person a rival gang member who had been around Oak Street on that particular day? Whoever this person was remains a mystery for now. Who do you think this person was? Let me know in the comments section. Now, let's continue with how...
Like I said, somebody that was tied, had some type of connection. I mean, would they have known Duck personally? I wouldn't count out a backdoor because, you know, this shit happens too much, especially nowadays. Niggas really ain't your niggas. You know, jealousy is a motherfucker. So I ain't gonna rule that out. But then again, I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know. It could have been literally anybody. But what we do know is somebody did for sure. Like, you ain't gonna just, oh yeah, I got my spidey senses tingling. He down there shopping. No. Somebody told y'all niggas, man. Somebody told.
This person was. Let me know in the comments section. Now let's continue with how things went down on that day. Muwab and another gang member got into a vehicle, a Ford Fusion, which was owned by Lowe's. C Murder and two other gang members also got into a separate vehicle, a Chrysler 300. The two vehicles took off and headed for Oak Street. The paths the two vehicles took was traced using surveillance and police POD cameras. It was discovered that both vehicles traveled just a few seconds apart and in the same direction. The two vehicles were also spotted in at least 7 different locations. Within a matter of minutes, the two vehicles arrived on Oak Street where FBG Duck was, and the men within got ready to carry out what they set out to do. This was around 4:26 p.m. The two vehicles stopped just in front of the vehicle that was driven by FBG Duck's girlfriend. In a matter of seconds, 2 gang members jumped out of the passenger side of the Ford Fusion and fired multiple shots at FBG Duck. When the shooting started, FBG Duck and another person jumped behind his girlfriend's car to protect themselves from the bullets. To provide support, 2 more gang members got out of the Chrysler. One of them turned his attention on FBG Duck's girlfriend and opened fire on her, while the other gang member joined his 2 other friends in shooting at FBG Duck. This intense shooting would go on for the next 15 seconds, and when the assailants were satisfied with what they had came to do, they got back into their vehicles and fled the scene. FBG Duck's attempt to shield himself from the bullets turned out to be in vain because he was left fighting for his life. Bullets had caught him in the chest, his groin and neck. His girlfriend was also not spared, but luckily for her, her injuries were not fatal. She caught 2 bullets in the left wrist, while the other man, who hid with FBG Duck behind his girlfriend's car, was shot 3 times. Police officers arrived at the scene and did the little they could while they waited for paramedics.
I ain't gonna lie. The day that this happened, I was pissed off at the police because y'all probably all seen the video footage of it, man. They standing there, Duck on the ground, bleeding out. These motherfuckers, this is what our taxes pay for. These motherfuckers standing there, just standing there while this man down there bleeding. Nobody in a rush to even check on him, to even be by his side. I know what y'all think. Well, they ain't EMTs. They couldn't have done nothing, man. But it's the principle of it. Hold this man's hand. Talk him through it. Come on, man. You just got shot multiple times. And he just laying there, just died by himself like that. While people just standing around. It's crazy. It's crazy. And the sad reality of it is it happens so much in Chicago. The police don't care. Every time, and I'm going to keep it a buck. Every time one of these niggas die, I guarantee the police department fucking celebrate. They like, great, another one of them gone. They don't give a fuck about us. Come on now.
Police officers also searched the crime scene and they discovered 38 cartridge casings, including one .357 caliber casing. FBG Duck was eventually transported to the Northwestern Memorial Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Now, if you remember, video footage of FBG Duck slowly moving around on the street pavement got on the internet. Social media users slammed the police for not doing much to help save the life of FBG Duck as he lay on the pavement fighting for his life. Former Chicago mayoral candidate Jamal Green had gone on Twitter to address the issue. He had said in this post, Police neglected to offer basic medical aid to FBG Duck, and I'm sure their excuse is going to be COVID. He laid there needing help, and it took way too long for him to get help. How many black men and women died because of time every day after being shot? Sickening.
And I will say this. If I was Duck's family, his mother, I would file a lawsuit. I'm suing. I don't know. I'm not sure if she did already. I'm pretty sure it had to have been an option at one point, but nigga, I'm suing y'all. Like, come on.
To get help. How many black men and women died because of time every day after being shot? Sickening. Now, following FBG Duck's death, one of the vehicles used in his killing, the Chrysler, was spotted on surveillance video. It was seen returning to Parkway Gardens at around 4:56 p.m. on the day of the murder. The video also showed C. Murder getting out of the vehicle. The existence of this video footage alone makes it impossible for him to deny his participation in the brutal murder of FBG Duck.
That's tough.
According to the affidavit, the same Chrysler was found a day after the crime. Authorities found it in the 2100 block of Gunderson in Berwyn, and they towed it. I believe that since the description of the vehicle was on the news and it had been linked to a crime, it wouldn't do much good to still be seen driving it around. But at the time the authorities discovered the vehicle, I have no idea if the vehicle was already abandoned by the gang members who used it to carry out the crime, or whoever left it there was on the verge of abandoning the vehicle and clearing it of all evidence when the authorities discovered it. But if it had already been abandoned, then whoever did it wasn't that smart because he left a lot of clues in the vehicle. When the vehicle was searched on August 13, 2020, they found some incriminating evidence that would further tie C. Murder to the killing of FBG Duck. In the vehicle, authorities found a handwritten note that contained C. Murder's Facebook and Instagram accounts and his phone numbers. At this point, I wonder why he had to write down his social media handles and phone number and leave it lying about carelessly in a vehicle he used in carrying out a crime.
Nigga, what? That shit that's crazy. Like, why would somebody do that?
Media handles and phone number and leave it lying about carelessly in a vehicle he used in carrying out a crime. Maybe his mind had been occupied with a lot of things and he had forgot to get rid of that note. Regardless of whatever he had in mind to do with that note, it speaks a lot about his unprofessionalism as a criminal. I'm pretty sure he didn't think the authorities would get him for the crime. Maybe he felt it would remain one of those unsolved crimes that would eventually be forgotten. I have no idea what he thought. But if he didn't want to be caught, he wouldn't have given the authorities so many clues. To be honest, he made their investigation very easy for them. Shockingly, that wasn't all the evidence that was found in the vehicle. C. Murder went one step further in helping investigators solve the case. They also found a spent .357 caliber cartridge casing between the vehicle's windshield and hood.
Damn.
When an examination was carried out on the casing, and on the one found on the scene of the murder, it was discovered that they had been fired from the same firearm. At this point, I just can't help but wonder how exactly the cartridge casing got between the vehicle's windshield and the hood. Was it left there as some sort of decoration? Why exactly was it left in the vehicle?
Y'all don't think that they kind of wanted? Nah, ain't no way. I ain't gonna say that. I don't know. Ain't no way.
Casing got between the vehicle's windshield and the hood. Was it left there as some sort of decoration? Why exactly was it left in the vehicle? Another discovery made by the authorities was that the other vehicle that had been used as a getaway vehicle on the day of FBG Duck's murder was said to have been purchased about a week before the murder. The gang member who had purchased the vehicle was Lowe's, and about an hour after the shooting, he had returned the vehicle to the dealership where he bought it. Now at this point, I'm beginning to wonder if the car was originally purchased just for the sole purpose of carrying out the crime. I doubt that this is the case, since a rented car could also have been used to serve the same purpose. It doesn't just make sense to splash a lot of money on a new car for that purpose when there are cheaper alternatives available. I feel Lowe's probably panicked after the whole situation and decided to get rid of the car. He knew it was only a matter of time before the authorities linked the car to him. He also probably didn't want to set it on fire or drive it into a river because that would obviously be a loss to him. So the option that seemed best was to drive it back to the car dealer where he purchased it. Well, with all this evidence in place, the authorities swooped down on the men and got them arrested. Following their arrest, John Losh, the U.S. Attorney for Northern Illinois, had said, "There are now 5 people in custody who weren't in custody before, 5 people who were alleged to have committed a murder in broad daylight in the city of Chicago." He also added, "Now it's known to them, and it's known to anybody else who might be committing similar acts of brazen violence, and who may brag about it or not brag about it, that their day has come." Also, I must point out that a search warrant application was filed, seeking a judge's permission to examine the phone data of C. Murder, Muwap, and Los. The search warrant application was unsealed recently, and I believe the decision to go through the phones of the culprits is a step in the right direction.
Nigga, if they go through them phones, the messages, all that shit, yo, But it's like the thing that really make me think about this is like, man, think about how many murders have happened in the city of Chicago. How many people have been killed, and why does this case of FBG Duck being killed kind of seem like, I mean, I ain't gonna say it was like the easiest case for them to solve, because it took them about a year and a half in order to make arrests for the alleged killers. But like, what made this case so different from all the other murders that happened in the city though? Like, was it just sloppily done, or like, I don't know, what y'all think?
Sealed recently, and I believe the decision to go through the phones of the culprits is a step in the right direction. It'll really go a long way to help the authorities in their investigation. One of the things that could be discovered is if there were other people involved in the murder of FBG Duck or not. If there are any, they will be rooted out as soon as possible. Think about it. Isn't it possible that the 5 men who are currently behind bars might be probably protecting some other gang members who were somehow involved in the death of FBG Duck? Another important thing that this search might help reveal is the identity of the informant. I'm talking about whoever gave C Murder and the other gang members the information that FBG Duck was around Oak Street on the day of his death. Another thing,
if they go through phone records or if they go through the phones, they might see that
information that FBG Duck was around Oak Street on the day of his death. Another thing I feel is that the search of their phones could land them in much trouble that will be even unrelated to the FBG Duck situation.
Man.
I mean, the authorities could find incriminating content that could connect them to some previous crimes. But not to be hopeful, the search of their phones might not yield much information that would be of help in the investigation. But at this point, all we can do is cross our fingers and wait for the outcome of the search. At the moment, FBG Duck's killers are already in so much trouble, and each of them could face life imprisonment, or at worst, the death penalty. That's all I've got for you on this video. Feel free to let me know what you think about it.
Man, RP FBG Duck, you know, it's a tragic situation overall, man. Y'all know how much I rock with Duck on the channel, how much he rocked with the channel. Man, y'all let me know y'all thoughts and opinions on this whole situation. Was FBG Duck betrayed by his own gang? Who do y'all think put the drop? I don't know, man. Link down below in the description for y'all to check it out in its entirety, uninterrupted. Y'all new to the channel, y'all rock with me, want daily reaction videos, hit that subscribe button, follow me to the next video. I'll see y'all then. Thank you for watching MANIACITV. I'm out.